There is a huge blow on DXY from the NFP, and we can see that all this data has come out to be negative for DXY. After the NFP, what I think that now DXY might have a clear direction in the market. So in this weekly Forex forecast, we will be looking at DXY, Euro Dollar, GBP USD, AUD USD, Gold, Dollar CAD, Dollar Yen, GBP, JPY. I'll be doing a complete multi-time frame analysis from A to Z in all those instruments. Before I begin this weekly Forex forecast, traders, make sure that you give a thumbs up and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more content like that. With that said, let's begin this week's weekly Forex forecast. Okay, traders, so let's begin with first of all DXY. We'll be looking at the highest time frame to see overall direction in the market. Now, first 4 days of the month on DXY, as expected, we can see that there is a significant drop. This is the monthly candle that has broken below, and the way the price action is forming, what I think that this month we can expect DXY to break below this level. As we can see from here, there is a strong bullish pin bar, which is a liquidity zone, expecting DXY to drop, grab further liquidity before bouncing back to the upside or even breaking below further to the downside. Dropping down to the weekly chart, we can see there is a weekly bearish engulfer on DXY. Now we can see there is a narrow weekly doji. We expected DXY to bounce back up. Instead, we saw that it failed to do so. After break of this high, there is a strong rejection, and NFP data has, you can see all those came out to be negative for DXY, has given a strong momentum. And I think that now, as there is a bearish engulfer cross two important candles, high and low, I think DXY may remain bearish to the downside. This is the support here, which is turning resistance, expecting DXY to drop down to this support level. Dropping down to further lower time frame, from the daily perspective, we can see that DXY, after this long consolidation from this structure with this long bearish engulfer, DXY has broken below. And if you closely look at, we can see this is a resistance here, which is turning support here, support here, support here. And what I think that with the market open, we can expect for the price to retest this support as a resistance and then to drop down to create new lower low. If we look at further lower time frame from intraday perspective, we can see a huge breakdown here, followed by 2 sessions of narrow pullback. With the market open, what I think that DXY might initially bounce to this level where there is a previous support, which is turning resistance here, expecting DXY after retest to drop down again to this support level. Now, this is the wave that we can expect on DXY, and I will be waiting for the price to give us suitable entry after a retest of this previous resistance, which is turning support. And based on that wave, we can look for trading opportunity with other instruments as well, starting with euro dollar. Again, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now, from the monthly, we can see that euro dollar, after previous monthly long week candle, this month after initial pullback, as expected, it has bounced back to the upside, maintaining series of higher low in that area on euro dollar. Now, this is the monthly candle. We'll be waiting for the price to drop down for a deeper pullback and then to continue to rise to the upside to create a new higher high. Dropping down to the weekly chart, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly bullish engulfer on euro dollar. We can see there is a gap opening, and with that gap open, there is a bounce followed by this pullback, and expecting on euro dollar to continue to rise to the upside. This is the weekly candle that has crossed this low, which has a huge liquidity here. And with this liquidity, this is the bullish engulfer on the weekly, and we can see the market has crossed the low, crossed the high, which is in fact a very strong bullish engulfer, expecting euro dollar to remain bullish to the upside to create a new higher high. Now dropping down to the daily chart, we can see that there is a daily channel, which is basically, we can see last day of trading week complete break to the upside with this daily bullish engulfer on euro dollar. And what I think that with the new opening, we can expect now a retest of this previous resistance here, which is turning support, and then to bounce back to the upside to create a new higher high. Looking at the intraday time frame, here we can see there is an unusual breakout with the NFP, which in fact with the weakness on DXY, we saw that euro dollar has bounced back to the upside. Now what we can see here in euro dollar, we will be waiting for the price to break for a deeper pullback to retest this previous resistance, turning support, and then to bounce back to the upside. This is where you will be looking for potential trading opportunity on euro dollar. Now let's see GBPUSD. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have on British pound US dollar. Looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now from the monthly, we can see that this is the monthly bullish candle with a long wick at the top, and this month we can see that the market initially has broken below, and it's still maintaining on the monthly series of higher low. And with this monthly open, we can see break below with a long wick at the bottom on the monthly. And what I think that GBPUSD may push to the upside with the weakness, potential weakness on DXY. If we look at the weekly chart, we can see that back to back 3 weeks, last weeks we have seen a long wick candle here, and this is the weekly impulse on GBPUSD followed by deeper pullback. Now this pullback this last week, we can see the market has exactly tested this order block, which is the previous resistance here, which is turning support here on British pound US dollar, and expecting it to bounce back to the upside again to create a new higher high. Now dropping down to the daily chart on British pound US dollar, what we can see that on British pound US dollar, there is a bounce on the daily, and this bounce from this order block, which is the previous resistance here, turning support, and we have seen a complete break of structure where there is a high liquidity, and from this high liquidity on British pound US dollar, we will be looking for going long after a deeper pullback. Now from the 4-hour perspective, we can see that there is a complete rejection here with an inverted head and shoulder formation on British pound US dollar. We will be looking for the price to break below, and if we see the market has broken below, tested this previous resistance, turning support, we will be looking for going long with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at AUD USD, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now from the monthly, we can see a long bearish engulfer, and this bearish engulfer on the monthly, in fact we can see after this the price tested the lower shadow of this monthly candle, and this is a very narrow monthly candle, expecting on AUD USD to continue to bounce back to the upside as it has tested this monthly support. And from the from DXY, we can see expecting downside that might reflect on AUD USD to retest this previous liquidity zone in that area. Now looking at the weekly chart, we can see this is the weekly drop, a complete break from the structure below this level, and last week we saw a red candle, expecting this week on AUD USD after initial pullback to bounce back to the upside for deeper pullback as with this back-to-back 3 weeks of bearish move, the market below this level, we can see there is a previous support which is turning resistance on AUD USD. Now dropping down to the daily chart on AUD USD, we can see that there is a series of lower high formation, which in fact is still maintaining a bearish market structure on AUD USD. And at the same time, the price in this support level, what I think that is still the market is in a downtrend. We can expect on AUD USD for initially to drop and then to go back to the upside for deeper pullback. This is the support here, which is turning resistance here. And if we look at the intraday perspective, we can see there is a series of lower high formation, but at the same time we can see series of higher low formation. And I think that with the market open, we might see initial drop for a pullback and then expecting AUD USD to remain bullish for short term, at least to this previous support, which is turning resistance here. Now let's look at gold. Let's see what kind of trading opportunity we have on gold. Looking at the monthly chart, first of all, to see overall picture in the market on gold. Now from the monthly, we can see that gold long-term picture is bullish. From this support, there is a huge bounce on gold, and previous months we have seen a big bullish engulfer, followed by this month initially has dropped, and also we can see there is a long wick at the top. And what we can expect for gold, what I think that as it is a long-term bull market, the momentum is still bullish. Whenever the market is dropping, we see that the bulls are trying to bounce, and I think this month the market may remain still bullish. If we look at the weekly chart, we can see the reflection of that bullish market structure. There is a bullish engulfer, and if we closely look at, we can see from here this is a strong impulse on the weekly, followed by deeper pullback. We can see back-to-back 2 weeks of pullback, and in this pullback is still maintaining series of higher low from the weekly with this impulse followed by this pullback. Last week we saw this is the NFP candle, which is in fact a potential continuation bullish pattern. We can see an impulse correction, a bigger impulse, deeper correction, and we can expect for the market to remain bullish to create a new higher high. Now dropping down to the daily chart, what we can see that from the daily, there is a daily doji. Now this daily doji, if we look at the previous level here, which is the resistance here, which is turning support here, and as you have seen in our previous analysis during the NFP played out exactly as expected, the market has tested this level and then formed this daily doji, and I think that this week we might see the same reflection of that price action. Now from the 1 hour, to see how the market is evolving, we can see there was a big drop here during the NFP, and with this drop the market tested this is a very important previous resistance, turning support here and formed this doji, followed by we saw the sellers couldn't break this low. Instead we saw a liquidity candle formation. This 1 hour candle we can see has crossed this doji's low and then closed as a bullish engulfer in the last session of the trading week, which in fact a very important hour, and we saw a bullish candle with a very narrow wick at the top on the 1 hour. And I think that with the new opening, we might see the market dropping for a deeper pullback and then keep pushing high to create a new higher high. So this is where what I think that with the market open on gold, expecting for the price to remain bullish. Now this is where I will be waiting with the market open for initial pullback and then to move back to the upside to create a new higher high. This is where as soon as we will find suitable entry opportunity on gold, we will be looking for going long with a high probability trade setup. Traders, if you enjoy this analysis, make sure you give a thumbs up. And also, if you want to trade all of them with us in Forex Trading Wizard Academy, you can join today. We had it 80% off last week during the NFP. You can still use that coupon. You can find link below this video in the description area, and also join the free Telegram channel for more content like that. So now let's look at dollar CAD. Let's see what kind of opportunity we have. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the monthly on dollar CAD, previous months there is a bullish engulfer. This month so far we can see bullish price action, and as we can see, we saw last week there was a weakness on DXY, but at the same time we saw the weakness on CAD, and as a result we saw dollar CAD still maintaining potential bullish. And if we look at the weekly perspective, as you can see on weekly perspective as well, dollar CAD has formed a bullish candle, but at the same time the price is approaching this significant level of resistance. And I think that this week we might see the price will try to break the low to this support level before it bounce back to the upside. Now, looking at the daily chart on dollar CAD, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily bullish engulfer followed by narrow doji on the daily, and I think we might see further downside with the weakness on DXY that we are expecting. Dollar CAD may try to retest this support before it bounce back to the upside. And looking at the intraday perspective, we can see that from the 4-hour time frame on dollar CAD, there is a consolidation pattern here. We can see it's a huge consolidation on dollar CAD, and with this consolidation it's a bull flag. We can see the market has broken below and has gone back to the bull flag, and I think that we might see the price may require deeper liquidity grab before it bounce back to the upside, and we could see even a consolidation pattern in that area on dollar CAD. So this is where I will be waiting for potential deeper pullback, especially if we see the dollar CAD has broken any of this important liquidity zone. We will be looking for going long with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at JPY pairs, starting with GBP JPY, looking at the monthly chart to see overall picture in the market. Now from the monthly we can see that GBP JPY past month has formed a bearish engulfer. Now with this bearish engulfer on GJ, what we can expect in this market for this price to drop further. As we can see, it has broken completely from this structure on GJ. We might see and ultimately a retest of this support, as below this level there is a high liquidity and GBP JPY may continue to drop to this support level. Now dropping down to the weekly chart on GBP JPY, we can see that there is a narrow weekly doji, and every week the candles are becoming longer and bigger, which is a sign that the stronger volume in this market, and the price is approaching this level. This is an order block, and below this level, as you can see, it's a very important support, and I think that GJ may continue to drop to this support level before it bounce back to the upside. So we still can expect GBP JPY to remain bearish. Now dropping down to the daily chart on GJ, we can see that from the daily, this is the daily drop followed by pullback, another drop, pullback, another drop, deeper pullback. It's a very strongly bearish market structure, and last day of trading week we saw a huge red candle, which is in fact a very strong bearish candle. Expecting GBP JPY to come down for a deeper pullback and then to continue to drop to the support level. From the intraday, here we can see from the 4-hour GBP JPY price action is promisingly bearish. We can see this is a narrow doji, quite a few narrow dojis, and which is in fact a very high liquidity. And what I think that with the market open, we could see a deeper pullback, especially if we see GJ manage to bounce back to the upside, grab liquidity from this liquidity zone. We will be looking for going short on GBP with a high probability trade setup. Now let's look at dollar yen. Let's see what kind of price action that we have on dollar yen. Looking at the monthly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the monthly, this is a monthly bearish candle. There is a huge bearish engulfer on the monthly on dollar yen. And this month we can see that initially the market, after initial pullback, has got in a drop here, and expecting dollar yen for the price to drop down further to this support level, which is an important level of support, and expecting dollar yen to drop down to create a new lower low. Now dropping down to the weekly chart on dollar yen, we can see that from the weekly, this is the weekly bearish price action here on dollar yen, and expecting dollar yen to remain bearish. Like the GJ, we see that every week the market is forming bearish price action. Last week we saw a massive drop on dollar yen. As we are expecting still to remain bearish DXY, I think that we might see initial pullback, and then we may see the continuation towards the downside. Now dropping down to the daily chart, we can see after this daily bearish engulfer, every day the market is forming series of lower high and lower low. It's a very strongly falling market. I will be waiting for a deeper pullback on the lower time frame, and then to drop down again to this support level. From the intraday perspective on dollar yen, we can see this is the bearish engulfer. And if we look at here, we can see that quite a few liquidity candle formation on dollar yen can give us suitable entry. As soon as we can see the price has gone up for a pullback, we can look for going short on dollar yen with a high probability trade setup. So these are the instruments that you will be looking to trade in the upcoming week. In addition to that, any other instrument showing trading opportunity also I will be sharing with you via the analysis, as well as sharing in the group. So with that said, thank you, and I'll see you soon in my next analysis.